Hola and welcome to Jerez. So, in today's society of woolly-waiting horsepower and gazillion horsepower superbikes, it's easy to forget those low capacity bikes, especially with the demise of the 600 class. The Ducati 959 was always a bit of a winner. It was always a nice sort of go-between before you stepped up to the brutal V4. Now, the Ducati V2, is it just a 959 dressed up? Or is it the perfect balance of power and performance? Let's go and find out. It's a little bit grey, a little bit dank, but I think we should be okay. And this is the new V2 dash, like a little budget version of the V4. I'm not expecting too much because, you know, the changes are minimal, but the little changes should add up to quite a bit. So, particularly the electronics, that's what excites me. We'll see. Already it feels nosier straight away. It doesn't feel like it's on his arse. Oh, it's lovely and nosy. And I got a fly in my visor. Oh, it's definitely more agile. Like I said, that nosier posture makes it more fluid. Oh, bit of a block move there, Nige. So much more confidence inspiring. Wow, that was very interesting. Although the first thing that stands out is that geometry change. There's more weight on the front, it's more nosy, it turns better, you don't have to fight it anymore. It's, dare I say it, it feels more conventional. It feels more like a, you know, a conventionally framed super sport bike. I want to say those electronics are very, very good as well. I mean, we're in sport mode, which kind of middle mode, and no intrusion. And if it did intrude, it was much smoother. And this is, as I said, and this is lifted off the V4, so it does feel good. It does feel very nice. 95 degrees, a little bit hot. My knackers are warm, that's for sure. Grazie. Oh god, I'm last out. Near enough. Don't panic, Captain. Electronics starting to intrude a little bit more now the tyres are going off. But nowhere near as bad as the old 959. It's just way more fluid to the apex. Takes minimal effort now. It's not super stable on the brakes. What a bike. missed gear there, nothing too serious. Yeah, the only real issue in that session was the missing gears. Doesn't want to go to second sometimes. I think maybe because the throttle's not 100% shut. I don't know, maybe that's the case. Je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas pourquoi I still love you. Je ne sais pas. What a little bike. This could be a surprise package of 2020. I'd already written it off before coming here to Jerez, but the little red Bologna bullet has surprised me. Chèque de voyage. I was kind of quick to write this bike off before we got here to Jerez, because you look at the tech spec over the 959 and the difference is, there's not a massive difference. But having ridden the bike on the circuit the first couple of sessions this morning, it's wet now, so it's probably a good time to come in and talk about the changes. You look at the bike, you think, there's not a lot different. Sure, we've got the single-sided swing arm, it's very Ducati, it's much sexier. The new lines, it's much more aesthetically pleasing. So let's start with the engine then. It's Euro 5 obviously, it makes 5 horsepower more than the 959. And they've done that power just really by, the first thing is getting the air intakes. They changed the air intake, so there's more air going in, there's the lower pressure drop, so there's more efficiency going in, and obviously more air, bigger bang, etc, etc. There are new injectors, and just those two things have made this horsepower difference. Out on track, I'm not going to lie, you can't it's not a massive feeling, you know, it's probably realistically 2-3 horsepower at the rear wheel, and my Botti dyno says that it's not a massive difference. In terms of the chassis, now this is the really impressive thing, the chassis, again, there's not a massive amount of difference. The rear shock has 2mm extra ride height, and 2mm sounds, again, nothing, but it's a massive, massive difference. There's more weight on the front, there's now 52% on the front and 48% on the rear, and that just makes it more nosy, turns in quicker, and that 2mm makes a massive difference. It's more fluid. From braking to apex, it feels more conventional. Dare I say it, like I said on camera earlier, it feels more like a conventional sports bike rather than the monocoque. It feels less monocoque. There are also new suspension tweaks, so it's slightly revised, although it's the same Showa BPF fork and the sack shock in the rear, and also the big change, electronics. The 959, you know, it was almost like the cheap younger brother to the Panigale V4. The electronics were kind of crude and they were quite basic. They did a job, but on track, fine for the road, but on track, these new electronics, so you have a 6-axis IMU, everything's lean angle dependent. It's basically, the system is borrowed from the Panigale V4. There's less intrusion, and when it does intrude, you don't really feel it. And another subtle yet massive difference for bigger riders, certainly, you've got more room here. There's more space to move around, so particularly on the brakes. It's always been really stable on the brakes, but now you can get yourself right back close, further to the back of the seat, and also the seat foam is thicker. I wouldn't say it's comfier, but there's more of a robust feeling to the ergonomics. Again, it's a tiny change, but again, adds up to a big change. Now, Alessandro Villia, the Ducati test rider, just did a 1:48 on this thing. I think the fastest time I've been around here is a 1:49 on an RSV4. This bike is very capable. I think it's only 3 seconds off his time of the Panigale V4 speed. The baby Panigale is now 5k cheaper than the V4 and a whopping 10k leaner than the V4S. And it's all you'll ever need.